ऐसे ही चलने दूं कि ठीक करूं? जरा जोर से बताओ, ठीक करूं?
Demonetization is a failed experiment.
कुछ मत बोलो कब्बर आ जाएगा। क्या है? सबको डराता है।
क्या इतिहास इन 70 साल जिन्होंने बर्बाद किए उनको माफ करेगा क्या?
डिमोनेटाइजेशन का जो देश को झटका मारा है, ये उन्होंने पर्सनल बेसिस पे मारा है।
अभी भाषण सीख रहे हैं, ऐसे का तो हो भी नहीं करना।
Nothing has occupied the Prime Minister's mind more than his 2016 surgical strike on cash. If 2016 had to be assigned a flavor, it is undoubtedly Namo's demonetization. While Prime Minister Modi has spoken of little else on the election trail since he detonated demonetization, he took the time out to give India Today his first interview since the mega move. Speaking to Group Editorial Director Raj Chengappa, the Prime Minister has provided what is his most detailed, candid and no-holds-barred defence, assessment and projection on a policy bombshell that affects every one of India's 1.2 billion people. While the full interview is in the pages of the new edition of India Today magazine, we round up the 12 most hard-hitting portions. This is Prime Minister Modi, unplugged and unreserved on demonetization. Our interview begins with the Prime Minister's first detailed view on the outcome of demonetization.
Black money has all been forced out into the open. Whomsoever it may belong to, whether it is corrupt politicians, bureaucrats, businessmen or professionals. Counterfeit notes, which our intelligence agencies had reported to be available in high volumes with our enemies, have been instantly neutralized. Similarly, cash held by terrorists, Maoists and other extremists has also been neutralized. There has been a crippling impact on dangerous and highly damaging illegal activities such as human trafficking and narcotics trade as well.
But what about the PM's view on the frequent modifications post-demonetization and the air of uncertainty that has prevailed?
Regarding frequent modifications, one must be able to distinguish between Niti and Raniti and not put them in the same basket. The decision of demonetization, which reflects our Niti, is unequivocally clear, unwavering and categorical. Our Raniti, however, needed to be different, aptly summarized by the age-old saying of "Tu dal dal, main paat paat." We must stay 2 steps ahead of the enemy. When problems are identified, we respond promptly and take necessary steps. Far from indicating poor implementation, this speaks of our agility in responding quickly and keeping up with the evolving situation. I know many will prefer that we issue one guideline and then allow them to walk roughshod over it. Let me assure them that no such thing will happen.
Through this interview to India Today, the PM has also issued his most dire warning to the corrupt.
If the enemy runs, we will chase them. If they change their tactics, we will change ours. When the corrupt find new methods of cheating, we will identify new methods to clamp down on the same.
What about the political outcome and opposition criticism? Listen into the PM's most direct counterattack.
I pity a few of our opponents, especially the Congress leadership, for the desperation they've been exhibiting. Congress leaders are entirely preoccupied with only one thing: elections. There is nothing political in the demonetization decision. It was a tough decision taken to clean up our economy and our society. If I were guided by short-term electoral politics, I would have never done so.
Remember the biggest political ambush by his predecessor Manmohan Singh. Here's how Prime Minister Modi hits back for the first time.
In the process of demonetization, monumental mismanagement has been undertaken.
Regarding Manmohan Singh ji, it is interesting that the words monumental mismanagement came from a leader who has been at the helm of India's economic journey for around 45 years. His reference to organized loot was perhaps a reference to the unending string of scams under his leadership, from the coal scam to the 2G and the CWG scams. Demonetization, on the other hand, is an unprecedented step to confiscate the loot of the corrupt.
In the most explosive charge, though, the Prime Minister has accused the Congress of openly supporting the dishonest.
The government tried its best to keep the parliament functioning. I was keen to speak in both houses. Yet, there was a concerted attempt by the Congress to derail the functioning of the houses rather than have a proper debate. While opposition in parliament is understandable, this is the first time that it is being used to protect the dishonest, and that too so openly.
And what about the corrupt and the hoarders? Here's the PM's most detailed message to them.
When money returns to the bank, it loses its anonymity. Till now, every rupee leaves a trail. This changes the game, as the black money that did not have an address till now has been tagged with one. We now know who has it, where and when. Holders of black money may hide behind the bank accounts of others, but unlike cash holdings, they can be traced. In this game of hide and seek, they have a few days to hide. But the government has the time, mechanism, and more importantly, the will to seek them out. More interestingly, with the existence of such trails, the identification of one culprit invariably leads to the unearthing of even larger sources and schemes of corruption.
But back on track, regarding the effects of demonetization, the PM fended off charges that he has slowed the economy.
The multiplier effect of the introduction of money, which was till now uselessly hoarded and stocked away as cash into the active economic system, will give the economy a further boost. Additional government revenue will be pushed into priority domains such as irrigation and rural housing, empowering the poor and needy.
And here's the Prime Minister on precisely how the recovered money will be used.
We took the demonetization decision not for some short-term windfall gain, but for a long-term structural transformation. Our objective was to clean up our economy and society of the menace of black money, purging the distrust, artificial pressures and other ills that came with it. The revenue collected will be used for the welfare of the poor, downtrodden and marginalized.
But isn't this an affront to the Prime Minister's own promise of maximum governance, minimum government? Here's what he thinks.
Earlier, the Income Tax Department used to shoot in the dark. Now people have voluntarily come forward and deposited money in their banks. The aim is to ensure that the honest taxpayer is not harassed or inconvenienced, while the dishonest tax evader is efficiently caught and punished. Beyond this, any erring officer or banker will be caught and punished. My government has zero tolerance for corruption.
But does the PM truly believe the pace of digital transactions can fill the massive cash gap caused by demonetization?
Digital transactions should not be viewed only as a short-term substitute to help through the period of cash shortage. That is not my objective. Digital transactions deliver multiple benefits. They facilitate proper accounting and sizing of the formal economy. They provide greater ease and security in handling of money, especially for small businesses and the ordinary people. They also deliver greater tax compliance, ensuring the dishonest do not escape payment of their dues. Therefore, I see digital payment as a method of cleaning up the economy in the long run.
And the final question that has not fully been answered yet: will demonetization root out political corruption?
It is imperative that we figure out decisive ways of rooting out black money from politics. I have been regularly appealing for the same. I had asserted before the last parliament session itself that the need of the hour is to comprehensively relook and reform political funding. I have also repeatedly expressed concern about how our current system of multiple elections not only raises political expenditure, thereby hurting the economy, but also results in the nation perpetually remaining in election mode, stalling governance.
What you've just heard is the Prime Minister unplugged on his government's most thundering policy quake, the effects of which will be felt for a long time to come.
50 दिन के बाद ईमानदार लोगों की तकलीफ कम होना शुरू होगा और बेईमानों की तकलीफ बढ़ना शुरू होगा.
This is a special report with Raj Chengappa and the India Today magazine team in Delhi.